Welcome back to the Football Tragics. Here is part 2 of our transfer roundup. We're going to start with Liverpool. Bad window, in my opinion. Very bad window. One signing in, if I'm not mistaken. Konate, 36 million. Centre back has yet to see. Has he seen any minutes in the Premier League? I don't know. Why are you signing a centre back and then not playing him at all? Bad window for me. D flat, right there with Arsenal. Morty, I want you to talk us through their window.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been great. It hasn't. If it wasn't for our outs, just bringing the centre back in, I would have been happy with, considering how we're going. But when you go through our outs, we're letting go of Wijnaldum, who played. I think he missed one game last season. He's our starting centre mid week in, week out. He's almost on the team sheet before Hendo, and we haven't replaced him one bit. We've lost. Like Shaqiri didn't play very much, but again, we're looking forward to the African Cup of Nations, and there goes our attack. So it's rough. Yeah.
Why do Liverpool persist on not signing players? It's happened for a couple of years now. They just don't. They refuse to sign players. I don't know, if they were trying to save money or what. Well, they'd have a bit of money, surely.
The money's there. I think they're either planning something huge or they're just taking it for a ride at the moment because, like, Konate is a good signing. Like, guess he hasn't seen minutes yet, but we saw last season how detrimental losing all our centre backs were. Just the extra bolstering there. A decent centre back covering it. I'm happy with that, and he can play. He can fill in a right back as well, probably. And like we've got our depth now. It's just I'm worried about going forward. We've got Harvey Elliott coming back in, but as you've seen, they've already played him in the midfield. Whether he's actually going to be put up into the front, it's a different story. And no injuries will be sweet, but I can see some injuries coming, and there will be some rushed summer transfers coming.
I thought maybe you just would overspend in a way to cater for the fact that last season was so riddled with injuries. You might be worried it could reoccur. Wijnaldum obviously going is a massive loss. However, I think Harvey Elliott's, he's come in and done quite well. He's probably been your best player all season so far. To believe he's 18 years old and he's killing in the midfield is
I agree with that.
Class. But I do think, you probably should have recruited a lot better for that. And then you said their African Cup of Nations, if they both go, Mane and Salah, then is a bear up top. Tony, how do you see their window?
I can't remember exactly what I gave Arsenal, but I'm going to give these Liverpool a D. D to D minus, honestly. Like everything Morty's saying about depth is the same reason you attacked Donny van de Beek. That's what he's there for. He was there for injuries until we lost to Pogba. So if you're going to call Donny out when he doesn't play, you're going to have to start calling Klopp out when he doesn't play now.
He'll play.
Yeah. He'll play. He'll play what, in cup games like Donny?
No, you'll see him start.
It's interesting, though, because we talked about, I think, Liverpool's strongest centre-back partnership was Joe Gomez and Van Dijk. It was, built up to this. And then Joe Gomez hasn't even barely played. He's been playing Matip, who I think is solid as well. But, I think they've got a lot of depth at centre-back, but not enough elsewhere. And we'll see if it does get undone this season.
I think we're building up to being able to rest Van Dijk in some games and not having to stretch him to play those.
But why do you need to rest Van Dijk? Yes, he's done his ACL, but he looks back and he's fit as ever. Why do you need to rest your centre back? He's not usually a spot you rest.
No, but even when we won the league, you could see that how tired it was going down the end there.
They played the most minutes.
But Van Dijk's in his prime, is he not? He's not some 35-year-old old boy.
No, but you want the longevity out of him. We've got the options there to be able to rest him through the things. He was playing cup games. He was our captain for those cup games. He was still there, and I think that he's looking to give him those ones off. Not talk about resting in the Prem. He'll be there every game, but.
Yeah. I'm not against that Konate signing in the slice. I'm just against the fact that that's their only signing. That's interesting. Yeah. Campo, how would you see their window?
I'll give it a D+, only because they signed pretty much their whole back line onto 5-year deals. So their signings, they're not signings, but their big plays from Liverpool to lock down TAA Robertson for another 6 years, 5 years, shows intent that, that's their defence for the next 5 years.
I mean, they are good points there. We do look at all those, signing new deals is just as big as a signing. I think, like you said, that's their signings. I think to keep the squad they have now, I don't think too many teams were after them. I can't see them leaving. I can't see Trent going anywhere. I can't see Robbo going anywhere. And Van Dijk, I don't think would ever leave either, just because unless he wants a new challenge, unless he wants to go to a Real Madrid or I don't know, Barcelona or who wants him. To keep them, I suppose, is good, but I'm still going to be harsh. We've got City now. They started the window off with these heavy talks of signing Harry Kane, ended up getting Jack Grealish before Kane, and then Kane never came. So I'm going to give him a B- just for the fact they didn't sign Kane, which I think striker was their big issue for so long. Have they filled that striker void in their first few games? Yes. Ferran Torres is not an out-and-out striker. Jesus is playing on the wing somehow. But 100 mil for Jack Grealish, and that being your only signing apart from Scott Carson on a free as a permanent third choice goalkeeper it's not great business, I don't believe. So B-, they've done what they need to do. They've lost a few decent players. Obviously, Aguero went, Eric Garcia, who was depth at centre-back. But that's, pretty standard stuff, I think. Could have done more, didn't do horrible. Tony, how'd you see it?
Yeah, I had them down as a B. Obviously, they did lose Aguero, like we've spoken about. And like we said, yes, they've got that, what we call the core Pep roulette. You never know who's going to start in what position up the top. But I think a striker would have been their number one target this transfer window. And they failed. They went after Kane, didn't get him. There was rumours the Ronaldo deal was almost across the line, and they didn't get him. So you've gone after strikers and you've been turned down by either the club or the player. I can't give them more than a B. They didn't replace what they lost.
Morty?
I'm going to give them a C, purely off the fact that they continually, I'm not saying Grealish is a bad signing or anything, but they continually keep signing these winger attacking midfielders. They lost their striker. They still don't have a striker. And, I could live with it maybe for another year. They're still trying whatever they're trying to do, but they haven't let go of any of these players. They're going to end up losing these players on freeze. And it's just bad business at the end of the day. I don't think Mahrez has got long left on his contract. I don't know what their goal is if they're going to continue. Yes, they've got all the money in the world, but as from a business standpoint, you can't be doing this. They're throwing the money around they are, and they're just leaving everyone for freeze at the end of it. So, yeah.
I mean, they basically signed as many players as Liverpool did this window. So, if we're being harsh, I suppose, you can relate them in that way. Campo, how would you see their window?
That's why I gave them a C-. Their lack of intent to go out and get that striker. There were reports that Man City only sent one offer for Harry Kane and then just pissed in his pocket. It's just bad business.
I think Levy's changed the email. He sent the wrong email to them, so they couldn't get the deal over because he was holding Kane ransom for sure. He had him locked up somewhere. So I reckon that was more Levy being stubborn than it was City not being intent. But I think you're right there. They needed that striker. They didn't get him.
If they came out and said 160 Harry Kane, there's no way we could turn that down. The fact is they didn't do that. They didn't show that intent, and they shot themselves by paying Jack Grealish 100 mil.
Yeah, I think the fact that they signed Grealish before they signed Kane was the issue, and then Messi was there for the taking. Had they not have spent that money on Jack Grealish, I think they probably would have rather Messi, and I think he might have been willing to come because Pep's in charge. I think they kind of missed out a little bit there, but it was already done. United, Tony, we'll start with you for United. Big window, probably the biggest in the Premier League in a while, long time. Ronaldo, big one. Varane, Jadon Sancho, big ones. Tony, go and start us off.
There's a lot of people saying that we have one of the better windows out of all the teams. I'm actually going to go with probably a B+ towards an A-. Yes, we brought in Varane, who's helped our centre-back issues. Even in one game, we've seen it. He's going to create that stability back there. Sancho, from what we've seen, still needs to adapt to the English style of play. Ronaldo coming in, what will happen. He's there to score goals. That's what he's done in every league he's gone to. So he's going to score goals. How many, we don't know. But I think the biggest issue with United is there was one position we needed to sign for, and it was a defensive mid, and we didn't. And that's the reason I can't give him an A. And I'm probably leaning more towards that B+, because you look at that squad and there's pictures going up, there's jokes going up, going, who can stop this team? And the one answer that comes to mind is Fred.
You're being a bit. I think you're being harsher than I was. I was harsh on the fact that I was going to give him a flat A. Wanted really badly to give him the A+. I wanted to give A team an A+. This is a spoil for you, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't, just purely for the fact that they didn't sign a defensive midfielder, which was their. I don't know if that was their number one target, but that was everybody who thinks of United is their number one target for the window. Ronaldo was an absolute steal. You paid less for Ronaldo than you got for Daniel James going out, so madness. Obviously, Daniel James is well clear of Ronaldo. It's evidence right there. So, yeah, fantastic window, but, yeah, you didn't sign where you needed to, and it's just, yeah. But I guess you can't speak. When Ronaldo's on the table, you get Ronaldo, first and foremost. Varane, top signing.
We've gone after Ronaldo, and the money we're probably going to make off him advertising-wise and whatsoever.
You've already made 60 million, I believe, in 12 hours, jersey sales.
Yes, he's obviously smashed the jersey sales. We
Not
don't see all that money.
No.
We don't see all that money, but we make X amount per shirt. And, yeah, we're going to end up paying him off in whatever it is, advertising, sponsorships that are going to come in. We're going to pay off that. And who knows, that might fund a new striker. And we might sit here in 2 years' time and go, what a brilliant move, because they've got, say, Haaland, for example.
I believe Ronaldo signed a 3-year deal, didn't he? I thought he signed a 2.
2 years
a
with the
2024 option. Okay.
Well,
He'll be still playing until he's 45. I reckon he's phenomenal. Campo, how did you see
hello, MLS. We got Ronaldo in 3 years.
I've actually given them the only A+ I've given out, just for the fact when McTominay's back, he slots in there. That midfield is solid. They've gotten probably the best defense, arguably, in the league now, plus with the most threatening attack. If they're not challenging for the titles, then there's only one person to blame, and that's the manager.
Morty, you're shaking your head a bit there, mate. Disagreement?
I don't have a problem with any of their signings. They're all been great signings. I mean, like you mentioned that, Dan James has paid Ronaldo, but they got Varane and Ronaldo for less than Arsenal paid for Ben White. So it's a good bit of business. I mean, jersey sales from those three alone could pay off anything. So, but yeah, like Tony said, they are missing a defensive mid like no tomorrow, and they still continue. Like I look at their team and I'm like, yeah, there's stars everywhere, but their main man in Pogba is still going to be played out of position to compensate to fit everyone else in this team, and he's still going to suffer again. So
where do you play Pogba? If Pogba's your first name on the team sheet, where do you put it in, Morty?
Attacking mid,
because that's not where he played at Juve.
He
sat behind Pirlo.
He had Pirlo next to him, though. You got Pirlo and you got Fred.
If you watch the Serie A, he played in a defensive mid position. So
yeah, but it's also the Serie A. But at the Serie A, you're also your centre mid is 20 metres further up the pitch, and he would be in the Prem, because that's just how the league plays.
Where's Pogba's played his best football? Serie A. Where did he play there? Defensive mid. So if you're going to look at it that way, he's playing in a position where he wants to play. In the mid position.
I would debate he plays his best football for France, and he's got N'Golo Kante next to him. Yeah. Anybody's playing their best football if they've got N'Golo Kante next to him. Fred is not N'Golo Kante.
But I agree with you. Yeah, he played a bit more defensive at Juve, but he's shown at United when he plays that more defensive role, he doesn't produce and he doesn't get as much swing. They played him attacking, and look, he got 4 assists on match day 1.
Then we played him attacking. He looked horrible against who did we play? Wolves in that third game of the season.
The big struggle United has is who takes penalties, who takes free kicks. We know who's going to take them, but is that their best option? Who knows? That'll be interesting. Bruno, is he happy?
I will say, sorry, just before we jump on from that, if you're talking transfer in alone, it's an A+. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, that's where I fall to that A- to B+.
We always look at the bigger picture here at the Tragics, mate. I want to speak about Newcastle now. They've won the transfer purely on the fact that they signed Santiago Munez. How have they signed an actor? I don't know. It's not. It's a bloke from the Liga MX. Slightly different spelling there, but I'm going to give him that anyway. It's on loan. It's an identical transfer to their famous goal. So if you put your money anywhere, put it on Santiago Munez going to Real Madrid in a few years' time. What a signing! I can't say I've seen much of him, but if he plays half as good as his future, what's it called? Fictional character, then what a window. They also signed Joe Willock, which I think was the one that needed to get over the line. Massive signing. I think Arsenal missed out there, and the fact they didn't keep him. I've given him a C+. I'm a harsh critic, so good window. Pretty good window. Tony, how would you see it?
Surely if you're a Newcastle fan and you're sitting there, you're buying a Santiago Munez jersey just purely because of his name. Like, you're not caring that the spelling's incorrect. So they're going to get shirt sales. As a United fan, one of the Longstaff brothers is gone, and that makes me happy because one of them always seems to want to score against us. So he's gone out on loan. So
it's the wrong one, Tony. Sorry.
It's one of them. It's fine. I'll take it. There's one less there. Again, I'm going to give him a C- purely because every year we hear about how they're going to get this new owner. They're going to spend millions. They're going to buy Ronaldo, Mbappe, Messi, everyone. They're going to bid, and then they come back and it's Wilcock and Munez, a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old. And because of that, I can't give him any more than that.
I mean, they were never going to get that Mbappe, were they? That I suppose the issue they have is that their takeover just hasn't happened still. We don't know what's going on there. I can't even remember what his name is for the life of me right now, their owner. But they've still got Steve Bruce in charge managing. So I think it's already shown to be a tough season for them already. And yeah, whether these transfers make a difference, we'll see. Campo?
C, just because Steve Bruce is still there. If they sold him, I'd say it's an A window. But he's just
he's the biggest window if they get rid of him.
That's just how bad he is. He's their biggest problem at that club. So until they put out that problem, they're not going to progress.
Morty, how do you see it?
Yeah, but have you started thinking like Levy and just trying to want to sack every manager under the sun? You do not rate anyone. What's got under your skin, mate? Never let Poch go. I'm just giving him a C- purely off the bants that I'm guessing that they will get a few shirt sales off that Munez deal. I think whoever came across his desk, I think he just jumped for joy and just, I don't care if he's shit and signing up. Newcastle, again, they're doing nothing to progress. They haven't signed to progress. They're signed to stay up, and they'll continue doing it until they get their takeover.
So let me just get you straight. We had goal 1, he went to Newcastle. Goal 2, he went to Madrid. Goal 3, the worst one, was the international one. Is goal 4 the relegation party? Is that where they're making the money on? The relegation party? Is there a documentary?
Oh god. I think in goal 3 he goes to Spurs, by the way, after the World Cup. So if he goes to Spurs anytime in his history, then we're impressed. All right, Norwich boys, how are we seeing their window? I think they had a decent window. Rashika under 10 million. Gula Gilmore on loan, that's a great deal. Josh Sargent, the American, for 8 mil. And then they got Kabak it's not from Liverpool anymore, but they got him on loan. It's a decent window for them. It's nothing special, but is it enough to stay up? Possibly. Brandon Williams, obviously at left back as well on loan from United. I'll give him a flat C because again, nothing special, but it could be enough to keep him up. Campo, would you give him?
I gave him a C+ because Gilmore was a great signing, I think. Also, Angus Gunn as a backup goalkeeper won't hurt. Again, a fall from grace from Quebec, from Liverpool to the Canaries, but a C+. That's all I can give him.
At least Norwich is more active in the windows than Liverpool is. Maybe cheering. Morty, how would you see it?
I'm going to go a C-. I think that Buendia got them up there and they've sold him. And I'm still waiting for someone to come around and they're still going to sell more of their players. And I don't see how that team is going to challenge enough of these Premier League teams to even grasp at points. Like, this team is win or loss, and I don't see them winning very much.
Yeah,
You
mentioned Buendia there. I skimmed over him. I think the fact that they came up to the Premier League and still lost him to a Premier League rival, it's not the best business. I think they probably could have kept him. They could have just refused to sell him until they got a heavy figure for him. I don't think 38 million, it's a lot of money, but I don't think it's enough for Buendia. I think he could have gone for a bit more. So yeah, that's a bit of a issue there, but who knows? We'll see if they spend that money wisely, I suppose. They reinvested it to the club. Tony, how do you see their window?
I'm going to give them a D+. Obviously, we just skimmed over one of their big players they lost, and I think that's massive coming up into the Premier League with a team that's got a confident player and then going, okay, see you later. We're going to try and now shuffle and buy all of these players to replace you. We mentioned, obviously, Brandon Williams. We mentioned Gilmore, but they're both loan transfers. So, like we said, you get a lot of money coming up into the Premier League, and they haven't really invested a lot after what happened last time. You thought they would have invested a lot more money to make sure they do win enough games to stay up. And I think we all had them going back down, and I think that's a statement of how bad their window actually was. We all have them going down.
Yeah. Southampton now, lads. They obviously lost Danny Ings. That's a massive one out of nowhere to not even a bigger team. Like Villa, yeah, they're probably a bigger team, but it's not like they're losing him to a Liverpool or a Spurs or a team that was in need of a striker. They didn't need a striker, Villa. So they've lost him there. They lost Yannick Vestergaard as well, and then a few other loans and whatnot. But they have signed Leonco. Can't speak too much about him. Centre back, he looks the part. He looks a scary man. So if he can replace Vestergaard, it's a good like for like swap. They've got a couple good loans in there. Livramento from Chelsea. He's already getting praise from every Southampton fan under the sun at right back. Theo Walcott they finally got permanently, and then Broja up top on loan. It's not going to be that Danny Ings replacement, but it's a good move. Nothing special though. I've given them a flat C again. Campo,
C-. They haven't gotten any Premier League quality, like proven Premier League. Adam Armstrong, he's looking good at the moment, but how long will that last for? Just a lot of unproven Premier League players.
Tony?
I think they did better than Norwich, so I'm going to go C-. Obviously, Danny Ings is a huge loss. There's not much else to say. They've signed a few players. Obviously, they've got the centre back in. They've got Livramento, like you said. So they have signed players to replace players that they've lost. But again, I can see Danny Ings coming back to bite him. And yes, Armstrong might score goals. He's scored a few goals. He's looked good so far, but only time's going to tell if they use the money wisely. So I'm going to go C-.
A positive thing, I suppose, for Southampton, the fact that they kept their captain. They got him to sign a new deal, James Ward-Prowse. I think, Villa was after him. There's a few teams after him, I believe. So I think to keep him is a good keep in itself. Morty, how do you see their window, though?
D+. They got rid of the wrong striker. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they expected from this window, to be honest. Like, their centre back wasn't outstanding or whatever, but you've sold your centre back, bringing a younger one, whatever. But losing Danny Ings to Villa, like, I don't know. Do they really need to lose him? Like, they could have afforded Armstrong as well.
I think you can live with losing Danny Ings if it's to another league, but to lose him to someone who, jokes aside, a rival in the ladder position, that's a massive loss.
Yeah, that's what, I think if they lost him to Spurs, you can understand because, bigger club and more money to throw about, and they would have needed a striker had they have lost Kane, or, even if City went after Danny Ings, Liverpool, any of these teams, but to lose him to a rival, like you said, it's a big loss. We'll jump into Spurs now. They had a pretty busy window to end it, to be fair. Campo, I'll let you start with this one.
I couldn't believe it with Daniel Levy in charge, but bringing in Fabio Paratici, he is pretty much taken over all transfers. Brian Hill, that goalkeeper Galini, Romero, Pepe Sarr, whatever that bloke is from Metz, that up and comer apparently, and on deadline day, Emerson from Barcelona with a 300 million buyout clause.
Which you didn't pay, by the way.
No, God, that's the Daniel Levy way, 30 mil. But we also got rid of our deadwood that was just had no purpose there. Sissoko, good servant, but useless. Aurier, useless. Lamella, just one tackle from a red card every game. But yeah, I think it's been a really good window. Busy. I'll give it an A-.
Do you think that Barcelona didn't read the fine print when Levy put his offer in for 30 million? He thought he saw another zero there. He's like, yeah, we'll take that straight away. We're out of debt now. But
yeah, that's all he thought. I'm out of debt.
Well, I think you've done well in the fact that you got Emerson Royale, because I believe both you and Arsenal were after him. And if Arsenal needs a right back and you still managed to get him ahead, I think it shows your intent there. And straight away, you kept Harry Kane. Look, he's not going to stay there the rest of his career. We know that. He basically said he's going next summer. But to keep him for this window and then to go and back him and build a team for him that could possibly win a trophy this year and could with Santo in charge. So I think great business for them. I did give them a B+. I am, a bit harsh, but yeah, I think that centre-back signing is a smart one. Emerson Royale, good right back, and then to get rid of Sergio Aurier, who is terrible. And then apparently Arsenal, it hasn't happened yet, but apparently Arsenal's looking at signing one on free. So if you somehow got rid of him, signed who Arsenal was after, and then Arsenal went and signed your deadwood, there's levels to that. So I think it's a good window. And then Brian Gilles, basically Lamella, but will probably turn out better and younger, and looks like that bloke off Big Bang Theory. So that's pretty funny. Tony, how do you see that window?
I think they had a good window. I think if you're looking at their transfers in, I'd be leaning towards what you said, the B+. I think because they were able to hold on to Harry Kane at this moment, I'm going to lean more towards that A-. If he does walk in a year's time and they get less than whatever was offered, then it's going to look like a dumb move if he does leave and they get no trophies. And the only thing I've got to say is you've just tried to say you've signed Emerson Royale and Arsenal's after him. I know where I'm going if those two clubs are coming after me at the moment. It's not Arsenal.
Why? They spend big money on important players. Morty, wrap us up with this one.
I just think holding on to, I don't know if actual bid came in, but holding on to Kane is, for Tottenham, it's an A in my books, but yeah, I can't fault the transfers. They've got rid of a lot of the dead wood, as Campo said. There is some shite leaving that club. So, all those players at Campo's, he's loved at one point in his life, and now calling wood. It's great to hear. Come back to reality for Campo. Foyth, Troy Parrott there. All the greats.
He's only on loan. Relax.
Huh? Yeah,
Troy Parrott.
Still going out. Done nothing in your club.
20 years old.
Speaking about that Tottenham deadwood, Danny Rose's new club, Watford, they signed a lot of players. A lot of undisclosed. I can't really see what they've spent. But Emmanuel Dennis looks their great signing so far. And then to keep Ismail Sarr as well, big one there, I think. Decent window. Troy Deeney's gone, cult hero. Everybody remembers his famous moments in a Watford jersey. He's gone to his boyhood club, Birmingham. But I think it's a positive window. Again, will they do enough to stay up? I don't know. I've gone and given them a C+ because I think it's all right. And based on what they showed against Villa in that opening day, those signings made an impact. So if they can do that for the rest of the season, then yeah, it's a good window. Tony?
I'm staying away from being unbiased. I'm going to have to go over C- purely because, again, they've got all this money and they haven't really spent a lot of it to try and prove themselves to stay up. So they fall into the same look as the Norwich where, yeah, look, we made 2 or 3 signings, but we could have made a lot more to make sure we were safe. So, yeah, C-.
I skipped over a few. They lost Andre Gray to QPR on loan. He wasn't always hitting form there, but to go to a championship club. Nathaniel Chalobah on deadline day to Fulham, again, Championship club. I thought he was quite a decent player. And then Will Hughes as well to Palace. Again, a similar direct rival. So I think those are bad outs in a way. Campo,
even if you look at how much they spent about €6 million after you take away what they sold and what they brought in. You just got how much for coming up to the Premier League and not investing to try and stay up? Like, you're spending $6 million. Where's the other $270 million?
Do you think these teams like the Norwich and Watford and Brentford even are trying to be the opposite of, they probably saw what Fulham did that one time, spent way too much and then went straight back down and formed a whole new side basically. So do you think they may be trying to keep a core? But in saying this, they lost a little bit of that core here. Do you think they're trying to keep a team, hey, you got promoted to the Premier League, so let's see what you got in the Premier League rather than replacing them?
It's a big risk. Big risk to go back down if you don't get it right.
It is, but it's big reward if it pays off, I suppose. But again, who knows if it does. Campo, what would you rate them?
C- because they signed 2 Tottenham deadwoods that'll probably get him relegated. Sissoko and Danny Rose aren't going to keep him up, so see Watford.
Fair enough. Morty, did you give your prediction? I always forget.
No, I haven't. But yeah, as Campo says, like they've picked up the worst of Tottenham, and it looks like they've picked up some other the worst obs. They've signed Josh King on a free though. He's always good for a goal or two. Whether that keeps him up, I'm not too sure. I don't see. There's no money being thrown around. There's like not even a thing, and like they've lost Will Hughes, who's probably one of their only shining lights of that Watford jerseys. Yeah.
You said Josh King scores 1 or 2. That's basically it. He scores 1 or 2, and that's it.
That's all it is. That's all.
All right, we're getting into our penultimate team here. West Ham United. Really good last year, obviously. Everybody knows how well they did last season. And I think in the end, they made some good signings. I think they were always needed that centre-back. The depth is a big thing with them getting Europe this season. Kurt Zouma, that's a phenomenal signing for them. Vlasic, he's a Czech Republican. He was always going to go there, I suppose. They love him there, apparently. 35 million. Areola from PSG on loan, goalkeeper. That's a phenomenal one there. He still hasn't somehow got Fabianski out of net, but I'm sure he'll get a chance. Felipe Anderson went away from the club. Again, he didn't do much at West Ham. That second, third year he was there. He didn't want to be there. So it's getting rid of Deadwood, I suppose, if you call it that. We'll give him a C+. It's positive, but I think they probably need a little bit more, given the fact that they are going to be in a few tournaments this year. Tony, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, completely agree with you there. C+. Not much more to say than what you said. They're going to obviously be in those extra competitions, and I think them not signing more than what they did, like, they get a few injuries, they're in trouble.
Could they have signed Vlasic and Lingard? Or because I think they probably would have liked Lingard. They definitely went with Vlasic instead, but...
Well, let me ask you this question. Lingard's hero comes back to United. Do you think Lingard wants to go?
I think he wants to go where he's going to. I think he wants to go where he sees minutes. I think he wants security in a way. And I think
rumors going around that we offered him out. We put him out that there's an option to buy, and he's the one that didn't want to leave. So whether he wants to try and earn his spot,
if he does see a spot at United, then fair enough. But I don't know. Obviously, with the likes, Ronaldo's not a replacement for him. But yeah, I don't know how many minutes he's going to get at United. So I think
he's already got more than Donny. He's got more than Donny already.
And I could probably go and get more than Donny there, to be honest with you, mate. Campo, how would you rate their window? Your favourite team, obviously. Everybody knows you love West Ham.
C+. But if C+, if they've signed another Thomas Souček, that kind of player from the Czech Republic, then it's going to be a great window. When in doubt, check it out. But Kurt Zouma is a massive signing. It was looking pretty average, the window, but that really boosted their centre backs. So yeah, C+.
Morty?
I give them a B-. They look good towards the end of the year. You say they're in more competitions as well, but I don't think they'll throw much at them. They've signed their centre back for the Prem. I think they're looking just to hold on to that top 6 place. And I would have liked to see him sign Lingard. I mean, Lingard looked like a world beater at the club, and they probably could have got him on the cheap if they got the deal done right. But they've signed Vlasic. Yeah, Lingard probably would have helped them along, and if they signed Lingard, they probably would have been able to.
Can you
Yeah,
define
that's funny.
cheap for me, Morty? Because we did get rid of Daniel James for 30 million. So what's cheap for Lingard?
I mean, in the form he was, I wouldn't have hated West Ham for paying 30.
100 million in the form he was in, mate. What a
But if
player.
you're comparing him to Daniel James, they're not getting him for any less than 40 million, 50 million. If you're comparing to what we got for James.
You have, so I don't think you can pay 50 million for him.
That's probably what United now asked for. And
He's a $30 million player at best. And I rate he looks really good at West Ham, and he looks even good now. He's back in the England squad. When he plays, happy. And we know he had personal problems, and that was a little bit of a reason why his downfall happened at United. But he's back and he's playing good football. If United do give him a chance, he'll be great depth for United. But yeah, I think West Ham probably could have done a little bit more there to get him in. We're going to move on to our final team of the episode, Wolverhampton Wanderers. I've not given them much at all. Flat C. I've kept a lot of teams with the flat C. They didn't do much at all. They lost Rio Patricio. They signed Saar, straight replacement. They signed Hee-Chan Huang from Leipzig. My pronunciation, we'll probably get bashed in the comments by Asian fans. I'm not sure.
South Koreans.
South Korean, yeah. They are in Asia, Campo. 13 million, though. It's a loan with option to buy, sorry. It's not a great window, I don't think. They probably could have signed probably a bigger name striker. They've got Trincao from Barca on loan. He's similar to that Fabio Silva signing, I think. It's not that out-and-out striker. They probably could have afforded to get rid of Traore based on he can't finish to save his life and he's already cost some games. But flat C for me. Morty, what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I have to give them a C too. Like they showed what Jimenez does to their squad previous to his injury last year, and they still continually sign strikers that are not Jimenez. There's plenty of strikers out there that can play the way Jimenez does, and we play Traore alongside him. They could be doing something, but they continually sign these. It's like they're trying to play in the La Liga. Like they're not signing for a Prem, and it's weird. It's odd.
Tony?
I'm going to go a D+. It's going to sound a bit harsh, but I think their biggest loss this transfer was Nuno. And I think that's going to go to show he hadn't playing good football, and that's a massive loss. So I'm going to go D+.
Campo to round us off.
C-. Nothing else to say.
I thought I was going to be the harshest critic the way it started, but look, a few of you have gone pretty harsh. I think I only really gave a couple teams Ds with Liverpool and Arsenal. But that's going to wrap up our transfer special. We'll probably do this again in mid-year, see who goes, who comes. Yeah, we've been the Football Tragics. We'll see you again for our preview.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.